My Street Season 6, Episode 10. Probably one of the biggest episodes in the entire series when it comes to information being revealed. This episode not only explained Michael's intentions, but also gave us an ending to MCD and cleared up most of our questions. What I'm going to be explaining is what exactly happened in MCD and how this has been hinted at long before My Street Season 6 came out. Ever since Season 6 Episode 8 came out, I've been creating a theory on the canon and its ability to create relics, and what it had to do with the Divines. I had guessed that the canon created relics using the souls of a person with some sort of power. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to make a video on that theory, and it was still being worked on when Episode 10 came out. Regardless, I'm going to be getting into the death of Irene's daughter, the creation of the original relics, and explaining a bit about what the Heart of Darkness had said about the relics and Irene. There is a lot of evidence that hints towards the relics being created using the souls of people. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Only two of the Divines that we know of knew the truth behind the relics, Irene and Enki. Enki was the keeper and the only of the Divines other than Irene that knew about the relics. Why is this information important though, and how do we know this? Well, the Demon Warlock had said that after obtaining Enki's relic, he had seen some of Enki's memories of Irene and the darker things she had done. Not to mention, Enki knew the relics had been created against the Fates.
These relics, Irene forged them against the Fates. Our suffering to protect those we love has just begun.
You're sick!
I prefer to think of it as entertaining, my dear matron. But I'm surprised to see you act so innocent after everything you've done.
What? What are you talking about? Did you know me?
Let me ask you, do you even know yourself? Enki did, and let me just say, I'm a big fan of your work.
What do you know? Tell me!
You mean you don't know? You don't remember.
So while the Demon Warlock wasn't around when the relics were created, he knew how they were created and the truth behind them. And that brings us to Michael. Michael knew how the relics were created and what they could do. He even had a relic at one point. And who knew about the relics and had one of their own? Who is Michael constantly depicted as? The Demon Warlock, of course. But I'm not going to be getting into that in this video. Basically, Michael being the Demon Warlock and having seen memories of Enki's, knew about the relics, their power, and how they were created. I believe Shad may have also found out the truth about the relics because of a few things the Heart of Darkness had said.
Irene, how could you? Why did it have to be her? I have no plans to forgive you for what you've done!
What I've done?
You're not so clean of blood. Had I have known the true cost of the power, I would have rejected you completely right then and there!
As you can see, it seems Shad was angry at Irene for turning someone he knew into a relic. That, of course, is just a guess based on what we know, but I believe it may be part of the reason Shad despises Irene. And now for the big question. Which daughter was turned into a relic and why? Now I've seen many people saying the original Irene had a daughter that no one knew about, despite Hyria saying she didn't have a daughter. However, there just isn't enough information to support that theory, and honestly, it doesn't make any sense to me when there's so much information pointing towards Aphmau's daughters. If MCD doesn't continue, then My Street is our only insight on how it ends. That means this should be fairly easy for us to figure out. There is some quite obvious evidence that points towards MCD Aphmau being the one to sacrifice one of her daughters. For one, there's obviously Aphmau's sword. The sword we see in the place the daughter was killed was, of course, a sword of Irene. However, Irene's sword was purely blue. It didn't have purple on it, nor did it have My Street Irene's signature amulet on it. The amulet alone is a clear indication that MCD Aphmau was the one to kill one of her daughters. Not only that, but it was mentioned a few times in MCD Season 3 that people viewed both Alina and Lilith as the daughters of Irene, despite Lilith not being Aphmau's biological child.
People have been calling them the daughters of Irene. I just want to protect them.
We've seen Alina at age 15 in her wish. We can tell based on the fact that Alina barely remembered even what her mother looked like, that Aphmau supposedly died when Alina was young. Alina's power also came from a relic, which means Alina herself could not have been made into a relic. The fact that Alina was alive in her wish definitely tells us she isn't the one who dies. In fact, I believe part of the reason she was in her wish was to tell us that she isn't the one who was sacrificed. Plus, I'd think Alina would have brought Lilith with her to see their parents. It seems a little selfish to go on her own when I'm sure Lilith would have missed them just as much as she did. Not to mention, the characters in My Street are all rebirths of the MCD characters that have died. It was confirmed by both Michael and Irene when they spoke of Irene giving the characters new lifetimes. It also explains why Alina looked at everyone as if she'd seen ghosts in her wish. They had all died. All of Aphmau's children have been seen in My Street at some point. All except Alina. Lilith was the baby Aph and Aaron babysat in Phoenix Drop High. Levin and Malachi have been seen a few times throughout the series. This means that Alina is the last of Aphmau's children to still be alive. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. I believe Lilith was the one sacrificed. We don't know of Lilith's lineage, and she was too young at the time of MCD's hiatus for us to know if she had any kind of power. Alina only showed signs of her power because her relic was reacting to Shad. If Lilith had any kind of strong magics, they wouldn't have shown yet. I believe Lilith had magics that were similar to the original soul of Irene's relic, and/or her power was strong enough to create a new relic that Aphmau could use to fight Shad. But obviously, you must be wondering why Aphmau would need a new relic when she already has such a powerful one. It's simple, really. Michael said a relic can live a few hundred years, maybe 1,000 years at most, before it dies out and loses its power. By the time Aphmau found Irene's relic, the relic was well over 900 years old. It was at a stage where it would soon begin to lose power. In fact, we've seen this happen. Remember when Aph began to lose her power after giving birth to Alina? I think Alina being born a child of darkness and light was enough for the relic to begin losing its power. Of course, in the final battle with Shad, Aph would need to be at full power if she wanted to stand a chance against him. It of course would not have been easy for Aphmau to sacrifice Lilith, but she had no choice. This is where it all really ties in together with that phrase Jason gave us a while back. I gave the life of our daughter to save the rest of the world. Lilith, the adopted daughter of both Aphmau and Aaron, was sacrificed to create a relic used to defeat Shad and save the world. And that relic is the relic we see in the post from Jess and Jason. The relic of Lilith, Irene's second relic, the relic that after over a millennia is finally losing its power. And when its power finally runs dry, that will be Irene's demise. That will be when Irene leaves this world once and for all. But that's just a theory, an Aphmau theory. You guys asked me to say that. You happy now? But in all seriousness, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this theory video. I hope you enjoyed the theory and maybe it helped you understand some things a bit more. And I hope to see you guys all in the next video. Bye!